Happy 4th of July. It's July 4th. I'm wearing kind of a patriotic shirt, and you can see my 4th of July hat on. I am so happy it's 4th of July. 4th of July, we celebrate Independence Day it's Independence Day for the United States when we broke free from the tyranny of the British. You know, and I really love this country. Of course, I love God more than I love my country, but many people that don't love this country are, if you would go overseas, just go overseas to like a third world country. You could go to any country really, and spend some time there, and then come back. You're like, oh, I love the United States. It's great. But especially go to a third world country, you'll be like, oh, please get me back to the United States. We have a lot of great things here. We have a lot of freedom here too, and that's what we initially fought for and declared our independence in 1776 because of that, to declare our freedom from that. So, and we've given up some of those freedoms here lately because of the COVID-19 crisis, but overall, we still have a lot of freedom. All right. You know what, though? We still can be in slavery. You're like, slavery? Well, yeah, slavery exists today, probably worse than it did, in the 1800s, but it definitely still exists, and it can exist right here with us. Today, I'm going to be reading from John 8:32 through 36. We're not looking at Mark today. It's a special episode on freedom, actually. And it's John 8:32 through 36. So if you have your Bibles, which I do, turn there with me. So John 8:32 through 36. It says this, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "We are Abraham's descendants, and we have never been slaves of anyone." Now this is Jesus talking to the Pharisees, okay? I'm going to stop right there. Well, actually, I'll keep going here. "How can you say that we shall be set free?" Jesus replied, "Very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." So Jesus has said, you guys are a slave. You guys are slaves to sin, okay? And they go, "We've never been slaves to anybody." Like, do they not know their history? They were slaves for a long time, for 400 years in Egypt to the Egyptians, okay? And God was the one who got them out of that slavery. And only God, with the 10 plagues and all that involved there. God got them out of that slavery. And then they were slaves off and on during that time to other nations because they kept rebelling from God. So to say, oh, we've never been slaves to anybody, that's kind of Looney Tune-ish. But Jesus is saying here, you guys are slaves to sin. And that's when they were like, oh, no, we're not slaves. And Jesus, verse 34, Jesus replied, "Very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. When I sin, when I'm involved in sin, I become a slave to that sin." And it was like that in my life when I was living for myself. I was a slave to that sin. And we witness it so much today. When we're dealing with the foster children and their parents, they think, oh, let me deal with the parents. They can go, oh, we're so free. We can just do anything we want to. But you know what? The drugs and alcohol are controlling them. They are a slave to that, and they can't break free from it. Okay, it's only God that'll get them free from that. They are a slave to those drugs and that alcohol, okay, and it won't get free. And so every type of sin you have, if I have a gluttony issue or a porn issue or anything like that, I become a slave to that. All right. In verse 35, now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. Verse 36 is the most important. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. This being free from sin only happens through Jesus. You can try all kinds of other things, but truly it won't set you free. You won't be free from sin. And that's just because Jesus is the only way to forgive sin. There's other ways to kind of move it around and shove it to the side so I'm not thinking about it. But in reality, Jesus is the only way to forgive that sin. So, anyway, I love the United States, and I am so grateful to be in a free country like this. But I'm so glad also that I'm a Christian and I'm free from that sin. Okay, so I invite you today, you can be free from the tyrannical government, but to be free from sin, that's a different story. Okay, and there's only one way, and that's through Jesus. So I invite you today, if that's what you need to do, is give your heart to Jesus. All right, thank you for watching, and I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and we will continue tomorrow. We'll go back to Mark, because July 4th will be over. So have a good July 4th. Eat and grill some hamburgers and watch some fireworks and enjoy the day. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Blessings.